In this video, I'm going to be talking about the best players for every jersey number in the MLB. Some numbers won't have as much talent as others, so I will try to skip through those as fast as I can. I'm going to include all of them in this video anyway because inclusivity in the year 2024 is obviously extremely important, so I'm basically a hero for doing this. Anyways, let's begin. Number 99, Aaron Judge, New York Yankees. Judge, when healthy, is the best power hitter in the entire league. He had one of the greatest seasons of all time in 2022, where he set the single-season home run record for the American League. If he can stay healthy, he can undoubtedly win another MVP award. Number 98, Randy Vasquez, San Diego Padres. Vasquez is the only player in the majors right now to wear the number 98, and in his rookie season last year, he put up a 2.87 ERA in 37 innings. He could be a decent bullpen piece for the Padres down the line. 97, Ron Marinaccio, Yankees. Also the only player to wear their numbers. In a 91 career innings, he has a 3.05 ERA, so not too bad. It's the boring pick, but it's the only pick. 95, Oswaldo Cabrera, Yankees. Cabrera is once again the only player to wear their number. You're just going to notice a lot of these higher numbers in the 90s and 80s are not really popular in the majors. Anyways, he still is very young, has a lot to prove, and he definitely could make a splash next year given just how much talent is on the Yankees at the moment. 94, Yoendrys Gomez, Yankees. The only number 94, and weirdly enough, all these guys are on the Yankees. He's only pitched 2 innings last year, so I can't really say much about him. 93, Yimi Garcia, Toronto Blue Jays. Garcia has been a not great, but not terrible relief pitcher in his 9-year career. He has a lifetime 3.61 ERA, and there's really nothing too interesting to say. 92, Genesis Cabrera, Toronto. Cabrera's 5-year career has been nothing too special. A total 3.97 ERA for a reliever is nothing to smile at, but at number 92 there really is not much else. 91, Matt Gage, Houston Astros. Gage is another player who is the default selection with these higher numbers. He has a career 1.83 ERA, but only in 19 innings. 90, Adam Simber, Anaheim Angels. Another NPC relief pitcher who wears a number in the 90s. He's bounced around in his 6-year career and has posted a 3.49 ERA in about 300 innings. 89, Jason Dominguez, New York Yankees. Dominguez was one of baseball's top prospects for what seems like a really long time, and he finally got the call last season and in just 8 games hit 4 home runs and had a 980 OPS before requiring season-ending surgery. When he does come back, the Yankees will have one of the scariest lineups in the American League. 88, Luis Robert Jr., Chicago White Sox. Robert, at the start of his career in 2020, dealt with injuries that limited his playing time his first 3 seasons, but was still productive. However, his last season, he finally put it together for a full year, making the All-Star team, hitting 38 home runs, stealing 20 bases, and putting up an impressive 5.0 WAR. He is basically the black Mike Trout and is one of my personal favorite players to watch. 87, Tyler Holton, Detroit Tigers. Holton was a solid relief pitcher for the Motor City Kitties in 2023. In 85 innings, he had a 2.11 ERA and a sub-1 whip. Another default selection, but he's really not that bad. 85, Dustin May, Los Angeles Dodgers. May, in his fine red hair, is very interesting because he is one of the filthiest starting pitchers in the league when he's healthy, and that's important. He has only played 20 games in the last 3 years and has dealt with numerous arm injuries, but when he has played, he has been very good with a career ERA of 3.1. I'm curious to see how the Dodgers will use him because their starting rotation is just so good and probably the best in baseball, even without May. So where does that leave him when he comes back mid-season? Number 84, Dylan Cease, Chicago White Sox. Cease in 2022 broke out as one of the league's best pitchers, finishing 2nd in Cy Young voting. However, he took a step backwards last year and had a 4.58 ERA, but still maintained his high strikeout rate. He still has a ton of talent, and I expect him to bounce back, but being on the White Sox, you can't really expect him to get a ton of support. He also has a very sexy mustache. 83, Brennan Bernardino, Boston Red Sox. Another one of these mediocre relievers that nobody really cares about. In 50 innings last year, he had a 3.2 ERA, so whatever. 81, Ryan Thompson, Arizona Diamondbacks. Thompson, in his 4-year career, has a 3.57 ERA, but only allowed 1 run with the Diamondbacks after he was traded traded last year, so maybe he can be something. Who knows? 80, Emmett Sheehan, Dodgers. Sheehan definitely showed signs of talent in his rookie year, but ultimately kind of stunk with an ERA approaching 5. He still is very young at just 24 years old, and the Dodgers are great at developing pitchers, so I think he can be good somewhere down the road. 79, Jose Abreu, Houston Astros. Last season was Jose's worst by far, but with his new team. But it is important to remember his track record when he was on the White Sox. He won MVP in 2020, made 3 All-Star games, and has a career OPS of 843. He'll be entering his age 37 season, so hopefully we don't see a brutal decline for a player that was always such a good hitter. 78, Yennier Cano, Baltimore Orioles. Cano was probably the best non-closing reliever in baseball last year and made the All-Star game with a 2.11 ERA. With Felix Bautista being out for all of 2024, expect Cano to step into that closer role for Baltimore. 77, Andy Ibanez, Detroit Tigers. Ibanez had a quiet little season last year for the Tigers and was not too bad. In 114 games, he hit 11 home runs, had a 744 OPS, and a 2 WAR. He could be a nice utility infielder for Detroit going forward as they try to rebuild. 76, Jose Caballero, Tampa Bay Rays. Caballero's rookie season was alright and definitely has room to improve. In 104 games, he only hit 4 home runs and had a 663 OPS, but where he does excel is his speed. He stole 26 bases and had a solid glove. Expect him to be a utility guy with the Rays next year. 75, Camilo Doval, San Francisco Giants. Doval has been one of the better closing pitchers in the National League with the Giants. In 3 years, he has a 2.77 ERA in 162 innings. Last year, he made his first All-Star team and led the league in saves with 39. Expect him to have another good season as the Giants continue to be the best Bay Area team, which is not saying much. 74, Eloy Jimenez, Southside White Sox. I was tempted to go with the 6'8" Felix Bautista, who I mentioned earlier, but since he's not playing next year, I didn't pick him, and Kenley Jensen has really fallen off, so I went with Eloy Jimenez. Since 2019, he has not played over 122 games in a season, but when he has played, he's been a solid hitter with a career OPS of 811. However, he has never stolen a base and is a below-average fielder. I like Eloy, and I think one day he can become an all-star, but he has to stay healthy. 73, Adbert Alzolay, Chicago Cubs. Alzolay has been a solid pitcher for the North Side in his 5-year career, and last year he ran with the closing job and had a 2.67 ERA while getting 22 saves. Expect him to be a big part of my Cubs bullpen in 2024 as they try to make the playoffs for the first time since 2020. 72, Javier Assad, Chicago Cubs. Another pitcher for the Cubs, Assad has been pretty good in his 2 years in the league. He has a career 3.06 ERA and has even been a starter at times for the Cubs. 71, Josh Hader, Houston Astros. Hader has cemented himself as the best closer in baseball since he was a rookie in 2017. He has made 5 All-Star games and has an unbelievable career strikeouts per 9 ratio of 15. Now that he's on the Astros, he's more primed to win a World Series than ever. Just don't look up what he said on Twitter a couple of years ago. 70, Bobby Miller, LA Dodgers. Miller was a very good rookie pitcher for the Boys in Blue in 2023, having a 3.76 ERA in 124 innings. He looked promising but declined towards the end of the year, including a playoff loss to Arizona. I do expect Miller to take the next step in year 2. 69, Anthony Veneziano, Kansas City Royals. The only option for number 69, pitched 2 innings last year. I know absolutely nothing about him. 68, George Kirby, Seattle Mariners. Kirby is one of the great young pitchers in this league and has been good in his first 2 seasons. In 320 innings, he's had a 3.37 ERA and is one of the best at commanding the zone and throwing around the corners. He also made his first All-Star team last year. Just don't leave him in the game for too long or he will throw a tantrum and act like a whiny 4-year-old. 67, Seth Lugo, Kansas City Royals. Lugo throughout his career has always been usually solid, having ERAs consistently in the 3s, and has been both a starter and relief pitcher. He just signed a deal with the Royals, who look like they will contend in 2024, and I expect Lugo to once again be good however they decide to use him. 66, Brian Bayo, Boston Red Sox. Bayo had his first full season with the Sox last year and was around average, posting a 4.24 ERA in 157 innings. He is only 24 years old and has time to improve, and I just know he's on the verge of a breakout season. 65, Jack Sawinski, Pittsburgh Pirates. I wanted to pick a fan favorite, Nestor Cortez, but I ended up picking Jack Sawinski from the Pirates. In 2 years so far, his batting average is low at .215, but he hits the ball extremely hard and has a lot of power potential. If he can cut down on the strikeouts and make more contact, he can be an all-star one day. 64, Dean Kramer, Baltimore Orioles. At a number with not a lot of talent, Kramer is the best option here. He's had an up and down career as a starter, but last year in his first full season, he had a 4.12 ERA in 172 innings, so pretty average. 63, Nick Ramirez, Yankees. I was going to pick rookie phenom Devin Williams, but he changed his number this offseason, so I picked a random relief pitcher, Nick Ramirez. Last year, he had a 2.6 ERA in 40 innings. 62, Logan Webb, San Francisco. Since Webb broke out in 2021, he has been one of the best pitchers on the West Coast, and since 2021, he has a 3.07 ERA and rarely gives up home runs. He even led the league in total innings pitched last year with 216, so he can be a workhorse. Expect him to once again have another good season with the Giants next year. 61, Christopher Sanchez, Philadelphia. Sanchez was alright for the Phillies in 2023 and showed he can perform well. He had a 3.44 ERA in 99 innings as a starter. He is pretty average, but he can eat innings when the Phillies need him to. 60, Akil Badu, Detroit. Badu had an exciting rookie year in 2021 where he had a 766 OPS and stole 13 bases, but since then has dealt with injuries and has not been the same. With how much young talent is on this team, including Badu, who is 25, I think he can bounce back. 59, Framber Valdez, Houston. Framber has been the most underrated pitcher in baseball since he became a full-time starter in 2021. Since then, he has a 3.13 ERA in 534 innings. He's even thrown 6 complete games and a no-hitter. Expect him to be a top pitcher again next year. 58, Luis Castillo, Seattle Mariners. Castillo, since his breakout season in 2019, has been a top pitcher in the league. Since then, he's made 3 All-Star games with a 3.43 ERA and a very high strikeout rate. Definitely one of my favorites to watch. 57, Shane Bieber, Cleveland in Guardians, whatever. Bieber has been a super reliable pitcher for Cleveland since his 2019 year and even won the Triple Crown in Cy Young in 2020. I am concerned that his strikeout per 9 ratio has gone down every year since 2020, but I think he will be fine, but hopefully he can stay healthy. Honorable mention to Eduardo Rodriguez. 56, Randy Arozarena, Tampa Bay Rays. Randy, since becoming a Ray in 2020, has been one of the better outfielders in the league. With Tampa, he has an 801 OPS and is averaging around 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases a season. Not to mention his great defense as well. He strikes out a lot, but that does not really matter when you're as productive as him. 55, Carlos Rodon, New York Yankees. Rodon is interesting because in 2021 and 2022, he was one of the league's top pitchers, being an all-star both years. Then he goes to the Yankees and deals with some injuries, and in just 14 games, he had an ERA of 6.85 and his strikeout rate went down. He still, in my eyes, has a lot of value, and I think he can turn it around if he is healthy. 54, Sonny Gray, St. Louis Cardinals. This was a hard choice because I could have picked Max Fried on the Braves, but I went with Sonny Gray, who has been producing similar stats and has been doing it for longer. Gray finished second in Cy Young voting last year in the American League and allowed the fewest home runs per 9 innings. I think he's really underrated and is not talked about enough for how good he is, and I'm curious to see how he does on an aging Cardinals team. 53, Adolis Garcia, Texas Rangers. Garcia, like Arozarena, got his start in St. Louis before going over to the Rangers, and since becoming a starter in 2021, he's been great. He won a Gold Glove last year, made 2 All-Star teams, and won the World Series with Texas. However, he does have a very high strikeout rate, which is something we need to see come down if he wants to be in the conversation as one of the league's premier hitters. 52, Michael Wacha, Kansas City Royals. Wacha, in his 11-year career, has never been a great pitcher and has only made 1 All-Star team back in 2015. However, in his last 2 seasons with Boston and San Diego, he had an ERA of 3.22. He's not the sexy pick, but now being on an improved Royals team, I think he can put up another solid season. 51, Freddy Peralta, Milwaukee Brewers. Peralta, since breaking out and making an All-Star team in 2021, has been a pretty good pitcher for the Brewers. He has an ERA the last 3 seasons of 3.41 and a high strikeout per 9 of 11.4. If he can just work on his command, I think he has the tools to be one of the league's best pitchers. 50, Mookie Betts, Dodgers. Betts undoubtedly is one of the best players in the entire league. He's a 7-time All-Star, won MVP in 2018, and has 2 World Series championships. Since joining the Dodgers in 2020, he's had a 912 OPS and 113 home runs. There's nothing he does bad, and at any moment he can make a diving catch or hit a clutch stretch home run. 49, Pablo Lopez, Minnesota Twins. Lopez has made his first All-Star team last year in Minnesota and finished 7th in Cy Young voting. He had a career high in his strikeout per 9 rate of 10.9 and looks to be the new ace for the Twins now that Sonny Gray is gone. He should continue to be a high strikeout pitcher again next year and is still young at just 27 years old. 48, Jacob deGrom, Rangers. deGrom, and this is important, when healthy is the best pitcher in all of baseball. He has not played a full season since 2019 where he won his second Cy Young award. He's a 4-time All-Star, led the league in strikeouts twice, and even last year where he only pitched 30 innings due to injury, he had a 2.67 ERA and 14 strikeouts per 9 rate. He does not have any flaws in his game besides his durability, and when he comes back in late 2024, I expect him to once again dominate and help the Rangers in a playoff run. 47, Edward Julien, Minnesota Twins. Julien fell under a lot of people's radar in his rookie season where he had an .839 OPS, hit 16 home runs, and finished 7th in AL Rookie of the Year voting. He was not great defensively, but that can change over time. Expect him to be a potential breakout candidate for the Twins next year as they look to contend in the very weak AL Central Division. 46, Paul Goldschmidt, St. Louis. Goldschmidt not only has a cool last name, he's also one of the best hitters in the entire league. In his career with Arizona and St. Louis, he has 340 home runs, 1,900 hits, a .907 OPS, and even won MVP in 2022. Despite having a down 2023, the 7-time All-Star and 4-time Gold Glove winner will look to add another elite season to his belt next year. 45, Garrett Cole, New York. Cole has proved to be a top 5-3 pitcher in baseball since he was traded to the Astros in 2018. He's a 6-time All-Star, won the AL Cy Young last year, and has a career 3.17 ERA. I expect Cole once again to be a Cy Young favorite, but the thing that is really holding him back is his playoff success. He is basically the human version of the Dallas Cowboys because he can be great in the regular season, but when it matters, he chokes. I think he's a little overrated, but nonetheless, he's still an extremely good pitcher. 44, Julio Rodriguez, Seattle. 44 is loaded with talent, but I went with Julio Rodriguez, who is turning into an MLB superstar. In his first 2 seasons with the Mariners, J-Rod has 2 All-Star Game appearances, 1 Rookie of the Year, and is averaging 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases a year. Honorable mention to Yordan Alvarez, who is great, but Julio has a speed and fielding advantage. Elly De La Cruz of the Reds is also looking to be a great young player, but he still has a lot left to prove. 43, Harold Ramirez, Tampa Bay Rays. Ramirez is not really a player who gets a lot of attention because he plays for the Rays, but in 2 years with the team, he has been a good contact hitter. He has a .306 batting average for them so far, and he could be solid in a specific role because that's always what the Rays seem to do. 41, Andrew Abbott, Cincinnati. Abbott was solid in his rookie season with the Reds. In 21 starts, he had a 3.87 ERA, but did have a high walk rate. He will be a nice young piece for Cincinnati next year, who has a ton of young talent. 40, Wilson Contreras, St. Louis. The new Cardinals catcher was solid in his first season with the team. He hit 20 home runs and an .826 OPS and will usually be good defensively. The only thing holding the 3-time All-Star back is durability, as he has not played over 130 games since 2018. 39, Corbin Burns, Milwaukee. Since becoming a full-time starter in 2021, Burns has become one of the league's dominant pitchers. Since that time, Corbin has been an All-Star 3 times, won the Cy Young in 2021, and has a 2.94 ERA. He took a step backwards last season as all of his stats declined. He is still the ace of the Brewers pitching staff and should come back to being elite in 2024. 38, Devin Williams, Milwaukee. Since becoming the full-time closer for Milwaukee in 2022, Williams has simply been elite. He has a 1.73 ERA in 119 innings and a high 13.9 strikeouts per 9 and has made 2 All-Star teams. He even won Rookie of the Year as a relief pitcher in 2020. He will be the closer again and should be an All-Star for years to come. 37, Tyler Stevenson, Cincinnati. Stevenson has been a solid catcher for the Reds since he entered the league in 2020. He has a career 764 OPS and has 15 to 20 home run power. He had a down season in 2023, only having a 696 OPS, but if he can stay healthy, I think he can bounce back and break out. 36, Logan Gilbert, Seattle Mariners. Gilbert, since being a rookie in 2021, has been a good starter for Seattle and could even be an ace one day. He has a career 3.76 ERA, and everything he does is just above average. We still are waiting for that true breakout season where he can be in the Cy Young conversation, but he should perform well again next year. 35, Adley Rutman, Baltimore. 35 is one of the better numbers in the sport, but I went with one of the best prospects ever, Adley Rutman. In 2 years, he has already been an All-Star star, an 806 OPS, gets on base a lot, like he does everything just really well. Adley is young, he is only going to get better, and he's already considered by many to be the best catcher in baseball currently. 34, Kevin Gausman, Toronto. Gausman, since breaking out in 2021 with the Giants, has been a really good pitcher in the league. In that span with the Giants and now Toronto, he has a 3.1 ERA and a great strikeout per 9 ratio. He's made the All-Star team twice and has finished top 10 in Cy Young voting all 3 years. He will be the ace for Toronto in 2024, and all signs point to him once again being great. 33, James Outman, LA Dodgers. Outman got his opportunity to be a starter in LA and performed very well. He hit 23 home runs, stole 16 bases, and had a 790 OPS. He finished 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting, and if he can strike out less, I think he can break out next year as a potential All-Star. 32, Ryan O'Hearn, Baltimore Orioles. Number 32 had a ton of people to choose from, but no one was really noteworthy at the moment, so I went with Ryan O'Hearn of the Orioles. In his first season with Baltimore, he was solid with 14 home runs and an 801 OPS. Nothing really to say about him. 31, Max Scherzer, Texas. Scherzer has been a very dominant pitcher in the league since he won his first of 3 Cy Young Awards in 2013. He has a career 3.15 ERA, 3,300 strikeouts, and made 8 All-Star teams, as well as winning 2 World Series, but has not really been fully healthy since 2018 and is usually bound to miss a couple games. At 39 years old, the only concern is how much longer can he pitch at an All-Star level, and can he remain healthy? Number 30, Kyle Tucker, Houston. Kyle Tucker is not a name you hear about when you discuss the top 10 to 15 players in the league, but definitely he should be there. Since he broke out in 2021, he has an 870 OPS, hit 89 home runs, stole 69 bases. He really does it all. Expect him to make his 3rd straight All-Star game in 2024. 29, Merill Kelly, Diamondbacks. Kelly has been producing at a solid level for 2 straight years now with an ERA of 3.33 and 364 strikeouts in that time frame. He was also really good in the playoffs last year with a 2.2 ERA, and he's not the most exciting or flashy pitcher, but he can get the job done. 28, Matt Olson, Atlanta. Olson has always been a really good first baseman, but since joining the Braves to replace Freddy Freeman, he has taken this game to the next level, especially last year where he was an all-star and led the league with 54 home runs, 139 runs batted in, and a 604 slugging percentage. The guy should remain as a top 5 to 10 hitter in the league next year. 27, Mike Trout, Angels. I don't really need to say anything here. Mike Trout is one of the greatest baseball players of all time, and he's only 32 years old. He's made 11 All-Star teams, won 3 MVPs, and he is elite in basically every asset of baseball. The only concern as of right now is his health, because he has not played over 130 games since 2019. Even when he has played, he has still been unreal, but he needs to show that he can play a full season. He would be in the Hall of Fame if he retired right now. It just sucks that he's on the Angels and has no playoff success. 26, Matt Chapman. Chapman is a free agent, so I don't know if this will be valid when he signs somewhere, but he has worn 26 his whole career. He is insane defensively, winning 2 Platinum Gloves at 3rd base and was an All-Star in 2019. He does have some pop in his bat, but he does strike out a lot. 25, Dalton Varsho, Toronto Blue Jays. Varsho broke out in 2022 with Arizona, where he hit 27 home runs, but he really showed his skills defensively. Last year with the Blue Jays, he had a 2.8 defensive WAR and he hit 20 home runs. He can be a fun player to watch going forward. Honorable mention to Byron Buxton. I think he's great, but he just got hurt again as I'm making this video. 24, Cody Bellinger. Like Chapman from earlier, Bellinger is a free agent, so this may not be valid later, but we all know the story of Cody. He wins Rookie of the Year in 2017 and wins the 2019 MVP, and everything is looking great. He then has 2 straight seasons where he's arguably the worst player in baseball, and after he signed a contract with my Cubs, he had a good rebound season with 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases, and an 881 OPS. Bellinger should be good again as long as he's not in a big market like New York or Los Angeles. 23, Fernando Tatis Jr., San Diego. Tatis has been one of the most exciting players to watch in baseball regardless of what you think about him. In 4 seasons with the Padres, he's had 3 top 15 MVP finishes, 106 home runs, 81 stolen bases, and he's also elite on defense wherever he plays. Whether you think he actually was on PEDs or not, you have to admit he is one of the best young talents we have in the league right now. 22, Juan Soto, Yankees. Soto, like his former teammate Tatis, can get a bit of a bad rap, but he still is insanely talented. With a career OPS of 946, he is for power and contact, and also has a career on-base percentage of 421. He's getting on base almost half the time, guys. Now that he'll be playing half of his games at Yankee Stadium, I expect his home runs to increase, and he can maybe even be an MVP finalist again. 21, Lars Nart, St. Louis. Nart gained a lot of attention in the World Baseball Classic with Team Japan and main maintain his success into the regular season. He hit 14 home runs with a 784 OPS with good defense too. He has not had his breakout season yet, but nonetheless he still is a big part of this Cardinals lineup. 20, Pete Alonso, New York Mets. I was really tempted to put famous women's rights activist Marcell Ozuna on here after his 40 home run season, but I went with the polar bear Pete Alonso. In his 5-year career with the Mets, he has won the home run derby twice, been an all-star 3 times, and already has 192 home runs. That's insane. He should continue to be a candidate for the home run leader next year. 19, Tommy Edman, St. Louis Cardinals. Edman has been a really nice utility player for the Redbirds over the last 5 years. He is not a notable hitter for the team, as he only has an OPS of 726, but he does steal bases and has outstanding defense. He's really underrated in my opinion. 18, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, LA Dodgers. The original pick here was Shane McClanahan, but he'll be out for 2024 because of surgery, so the Japanese phenom Yamamoto is my pick. In Japanese professional baseball, he's had a career 1.72 ERA, keeps a low whip, and rarely gives up home runs. I know he's never played a game in the MLB before, but the talent is certainly there. 17, Shohei Otani, LA Dodgers. Do I really need to say anything? Otani can hit at an elite level, pitch at an elite level. He's won 2 MVPs, made 3 All-Star teams. He unfortunately will not be pitching next year as he recovers from surgery, but he will be the Dodgers' designated hitter. Yeah, I don't really need to say much. I think everyone knows how good he is already. 16, Will Smith, LA Dodgers. Smith has been one of the better and more consistent catchers in baseball for the last 5 years, a career 840 OPS, and also has 25 to 30 home run power, not to mention his solid fielding. He made his first All-Star game last season, and I definitely think he can do that again in 2024. 15, ONeal Cruz, Pittsburgh Pirates. Cruz is interesting because in 2 seasons he's only played 96 games and has been riddled by injuries, but he is a physical freak. He can throw the ball harder than anyone, and he can hit the ball harder than anyone. If he can stay healthy, and this is a huge if, he can break out and become an all-star in 2024. 14, Gabrielle Moreno, Arizona. Moreno was solid in his first full season, having a 747 OPS, and was the best defensive catcher in baseball. He also helped lead the Diamondbacks to their first World Series appearance since 2001. At just 23 years old, he has a lot of room for improvement, and maybe one day he can become an all-star. 13, Ronald Acuna Jr., Atlanta Braves. Acuna played his first full season since 2019 and was the best player in baseball. He led the league in runs, batting average, stolen bases, on-base percentage, and OPS while winning NL MVP. If he can stay healthy again in 2024, he can have another monster season. He is undoubtedly a top 3 player right now. 12, Francisco Lindor, New York Mets. Lindor is not the same player he once was in Cleveland, but he still is a top shortstop. Since joining the Mets in 2021, he's had a 780 OPS, hit 77 home runs, stolen 57 bases, and has great defense. He has not made an all-star team since 2019, but he definitely can get back there with his talent. 11, Jose Ramirez, Cleveland. This was a hard decision, but Jose has just been one of the most consistently good players in the league. Since he became a full-time starter for Cleveland in 2017, he's made 5 All-Star teams and won 4 Silver Slugger awards. He can consistently hit 25 home runs and steal 25 bases a season while maintaining an OPS around 900. He does look like a goldfish, but he can knock out anyone with his unreal right hook. 10, JT Realmuto, Philadelphia Phillies. Realmuto, for a while, has been the consensus best catcher in the league, and for a good reason. He's won 2 Gold Gloves and made 3 All-Star teams. It can average around 20 home runs, 15 stolen bases, and an OPS around 800, all while being a catcher. He basically can do everything that Will Smith and Adley Rutman do, but better. 9, Brandon Nimmo, New York Mets. Nimmo has been a very solid utility player for the Mets since he became a full-time starter in 2022. In the last 2 seasons, he's had an 815 OPS and 40 home runs while being good defensively too. He has always just been good, not great. 8, Ian Happ, Chicago Cubs. Happ, in his 7-year career with the Cubbies, has averaged a 797 OPS, can easily steal 10 bases, and hit 20 to 25 home runs a season. He made an All-Star team in 2022 and has also won Gold Gloves in the last 2 seasons. Like Nimmo, he has never really been a great player, but he can be productive. Number 7, Corbin Carroll, Arizona D-backs. This was definitely the hardest number to decide because of all the elite talent, but I went with the Rookie of the Year, Corbin Carroll. Carroll dominated in his first full season, having an 868 OPS, hit 25 home runs, and stole 54 bases. Being one of the fastest and most exciting players to watch in the league, Carroll should have an MVP caliber year in 2024. 6, Josh Young, Texas. Young, similar to Carroll, was a rookie last year and did not disappoint. He was an all-star and had a 781 OPS, as well as hitting 23 home runs with a good glove and capping it all off winning the World Series. Being on a loaded team offensively, he can definitely repeat his success. 5, Freddy Freeman, LA Dodgers. 5 was another tough choice because you have the 2-time World Series MVP Corey Seager, as well as, Wander Franco, but don't really want to get into him. But I went with Freddy Freeman. If you want to talk about who is the most consistently performing player who's always good and never injured, well, Freddy Freeman's your guy. In his career with Atlanta and now LA, he has a 902 OPS, hit 321 home runs, 2,114 hits, won MVP in 2020, made 7 All-Star teams, and won the 2021 World Series. I would bet serious money on Freddy once again being a top 5 pure hitter in baseball next year. 4. Blake Snell. Snell won the Cy Young back in 2018 with Tampa Bay, then he just dipped and never really repeated at that same level until last year where he won the Cy Young again out of nowhere, this time with San Diego. He has always been a high strikeout pitcher, but he also walks a ton of batters, so do I think he can repeat this in the future? Probably not. 3. Bryce Harper, Phillies. Harper was the best prospect ever when he was just in high school hitting 600-foot home runs, and he has not disappointed since. Though he has not had a fully healthy season since 2021, he still has all the talent in the world, and since he came to the league in 2012 with the Nationals, he's won 2 MVPs, made 7 All-Star teams, with a career 912 OPS, 306 home runs, and 1,500 hits. Outside of Mike Trout, he's been the best hitter of the 2010s, and now playing first base, he still has a lot left in the tank and can certainly go back to his MVP form we saw in years past. 2. Marcus Semien, Texas. 2 has a ton of players to pick from, but the clear pick here is Marcus Semien of the Texas Rangers. He can be inconsistent, but when he's on, he can be very scary to face. And since he really broke out in 2019 with the A's, he's made 2 All-Star games, won a Gold Glove with an 820 OPS, and he hits for power as a second baseman, which is very rare. Him combined with Corey Seager, Nate Lau, and Josh Young make probably the best infield in all of baseball. 1. Ozzie Albies, Atlanta. Albies, similar to Marcus Semien, is a power-hitting second baseman. He's been very good since his first full season in 2018 and is a 3-time All-Star with a career 803 OPS and won the 2021 World Series. He's a top player at a weak position and he's just fun to watch. Finally, 0, Andres Jimenez, Cleveland. Jimenez broke into the scene in 2022 with an 837 OPS, won a Gold Glove, and was 6th in MVP voting. However, he did take a step backwards last year, lowering his OPS over 120 points, but he stole more bases and even won the Platinum Glove for the American League. I don't know what to expect from Jimenez going forward, but we know he can be a solid hitter and his defense is elite.